Hello, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. I have no idea how people start YouTube videos and stuff. Welcome to a video talking about the very known, very famous kit lens. The good question is, as a starter, you're starting off, you just bought a camera, came with a kit lens, and you're just starting off. You're like, do I need to go up and just buy like a 500 or 1,000, 2,000, whatever that cost lens and whatever currency you're buying in? Do you really need to do that, or is the kit lens enough? Now, a kit lens is very, very useful. First, very cheap. Comes probably with the body that you're buying. Depends on what body you're buying. And as a beginner, it's something that is good, flexible. You got multiple zooms. Like for instance, on my Canon, you've got an 18 to 55 millimeter. You got wide and you got close-ups, so it gives you a good range of what you can photograph with that kit lens. Like a lot of people that are buying the 18 to 55 one and buying a kit lens are probably buying it on like a crop sensor, and you're not going to put that. It's an EFS lens. You're not going to put that on a full frame body, and that means, well, it may hurt you a tiny bit with your 18mm and it'll be like cropped in a bit, but with your 50mm, that means you're getting close to telephoto. You're going into the range of 80-85mm. If you didn't know, whatever you have as for your lens, for instance, I'm shooting right now on 24mm, so to actually get what that means on crop sensor, that you'd have to times that about 1.6, and you get your result is what focal length you're at. So the kit lens gives you a good flexibility, gives you good range. The things you can capture with it are really good. Like, it gives you good quality. Maybe the build of the lens, the glass, of course, is not going to be the best of quality. That's why the lens like the f2.8s, like the L professional lenses or the G Master lenses on Sony, those things really, really cost a lot. Now that's kind of different, but that doesn't mean that you can't get good quality photos with the kit lens that you have, with the glass you have. A good point to mention with the kit lens is the kit lens does have stabilization. That means it'll help with your footage if you're trying to get something being less shaky, if you're doing some video, but it's nothing like you'll find on a camera that costs thousands, as well as a lens that costs thousands. But for instance, it's better than this. Like, this is the f1.8, the 50mm, the nifty 50, and it's a bit better. Like, if you got 1.8 like aperture on this, it's a good wide aperture, but it doesn't have stabilization. So which means if you're shooting something, you want to get bokeh and you want to do that with this lens on video, it might look a bit more shaky than this one. Now, the kit lens is super good, but in daylight, that's one of the main drawbacks of a kit lens. If you know, the aperture on this is 3.5 to 5.6, 5.6, something like that. It depends on where it depends on how much you zoom in. The more you zoom in, the smaller the aperture will be. And well, that can hurt you in some situations, like for instance, getting some nice depth of field on let's say if you're zooming in, you'd have to get pretty close to your subject. And if you don't have enough light coming into your scene or the place you're shooting, well, that can be a bit of an issue. Like if you are in a low light situation where it's like sunset, or it's coming into it get really dark and nighttime, that lens is not that useful, unfortunately. It's good, you can maybe do some astrophotography, and that small aperture, low light or nighttime, other than astrophotography, that's going to hurt you because you're not putting it on a tripod and you want to just shoot something really quickly while it's moving or while you have it handheld. And if you want to get some good light into it while using it, you have to really slow down your shutter. If you're slowing down your shutter and you've got a handheld, it's going to be really blurry. And I mean, unless you're intentionally doing it blurry, it won't look good. And then you need a tripod, and carrying down your shutter to something really long, well, that can also introduce blur and movement from subjects that you're trying to capture. So if you're trying to capture something still in low light, this will hurt you a lot. And so if you're starting off, you don't have a big budget, you don't have a lot of money to throw at a lot of lenses, what you can do is just stick to this lens, stick to the kit lens. Even I'm shooting a video with it right now, and it looks good. It looks just fine, and you can add to your arsenal a few more lenses like this nifty 50 or or another cheap telephoto lens, like can get you like 100 to 300. There's a good one for Canon, or whatever you have in whatever system you're using. And you'll find something good, and from other companies like Tamron or Sigma. But in general, camera gear is expensive. It's not something that's super affordable. Let's say drop 50 for like a lens or something. That won't happen. This is a very cheap lens and it'll cost 150. But that's what it is. It's a cheap lens. It gets you what you need, gets you good quality. Maybe you can get some work off it, or maybe do some videos. And so I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's not just a big draw conclusion. Just take it as an insight into what you can use this lens for. It's a really good and useful lens. Don't give up on it. Use your skills, use all the settings you have in the manual tab to bring out what you can of quality out of this lens, because you really can. It doesn't matter what lens you're using, just remember it's your skills, and that's why it really matters. Gear, it does matter. I'm not going to say gear doesn't matter. Gear does matter, but in this case, for now, you probably can get some really amazing level photography with just a really cheap lens. Yeah, just let me know what you think. Like, dislike, whatever you feel like this video deserves. It's good feedback and I absolutely appreciate it. So thank you very much. Hope I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.